Jason, so just to refresh on the direction, if anybody would like to ask Jason a question as well, I will be asking some questions too. Please feel free to, at the bottom of the Zoom screen, you'll see where it says chat, and then you can click on that, and you can select whether you send the question to everyone or just to me, Craig Campbell. Oh, there's another person, sorry. And then I will try to ask Jason as many of the questions as possible. And so one of the things I wanted to hit home with you on what you just said in your background, Jason, was that there was a lot of people running for office, running for the sheriff's office in the primary. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it almost all of the candidates in the primary running against Patty were either former deputies or applicants? So they had direct experience, correct? With the office and had a beef of some sort to change, or had a reason to run for change.
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct. All the challengers had either been former deputies of Patty's or had applied to be employed with Patty, and for one reason or the other, they weren't employed. So there was that common thread that everybody that was running had some interaction, whether it be positively or negatively, but they had interaction with the sheriff's office, at least the leadership of the sheriff's office, and they just they were not satisfied. I mean, I think would be a very polite way of saying it, because each one had their own
concern,
beef, so to say, with it.
Sure. Well, and I think that, I mean, in the entire, I don't know how many times she's run for office, the current sheriff, Patty, but has she ever had that many people running against her, especially people that were former applicants or former employees of hers?
No, to my knowledge, she's never had more than one challenger, and I don't recall any of the previous challengers ever being former employees or former members of the sheriff's office.
Okay,
there were some outside challengers. There was some outside retired law enforcement, but no, I think this is the first time she's been challenged by anybody connected to the Valley County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm just going back in my memory, and yeah, normally she has one challenger, and so I was very surprised with five. Or five total, meaning four challengers and her, and that really told me, that inside of our community that there's beginning to be, I don't want to say distrust, but at least unrest. That people are not exactly satisfied. Because if you pick up five challengers, I don't think that means that everybody's satisfied with you. Because we had four different unique individuals, representing unique areas of Valley County, and it was definitely interesting. I mean, I really listened to what they had to say with a lot of surprise, because some of what they were saying, I never knew, and I was not pleased to know that, some of what had occurred, and some of what has allegedly occurred, I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, and I think it shows a little bit that they're, for the most part, internal candidates. I mean, people running from internal to the sheriff's office. That says an awful lot about what's going on in the sheriff's office. To me, at least, I'm just speaking my personal opinion on that. And one of the reasons why I've wanted to help you out with this campaign a lot. But morale has been affected by low pay and from some of the deputies and some of the employees in the sheriff's office, but then also because of leadership issues. Is it wages? How you enforce things? How does that look like to you?
That's a really tough one to come down to just one thing. So I'm not trying to be a politician here, but I'm not going to keep it to just one. I just can't, because it is a faceted problem. And But I will tell you my tops, and so some of the tops is, first off, just being present, being there, you know, um, not just, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, being there, being present, there's a night shift, be there, go in and see them. They are your staff. They need to know that you care about them and that they matter. I mean, because they have a family that they're being away from. They're sacrificing. Yes, they're getting paid, but they are sacrificing to work for us. Um, you're right. Retention's been horrible at Valley County, especially in the dispatch section. The detention division had its problems. It seems to have really turned around over the last 2 years, and 2 3 years, and I'm glad to say I had a hand in that. And it was, again, about setting the standard of, you matter, you are important to us, because even though wages may not be good, employees will walk over broken glass to help a supervisor that cares about them. They just, they all of us, following Maslow's hierarchy of need, we just want to belong, and we want to feel important. We want to know somebody cares about us, and that somebody cares what we have to say and listens. Because you can sit there all day long and have a conversation and then walk away and forget it, and that didn't help anybody. Yeah, it gives the employee 5 seconds of feeling good, but the next time you see them, if you don't discuss anything of what they talked about again, then they know you just dismissed them. So that's a huge one. Just being present and at all times. I mean, you have to be. Wages are there. Wages. There are some good areas of the sheriff's office as far as its wages, and there's some others that are abysmal, that need to come up. Dispatch and detention are two, as far as divisions, and then our front end staff. So like your driver's license clerks and evidence clerks, uh, they're not sworn positions, but they're working for $15 an hour to start, which I'm not saying is not decent money, but when you look at Valley County, it's not. They can't. You shouldn't have to make a choice in between rent and one other thing that I'm going to pay for this month. I mean, I went out and got a job with a company that I won't name, because it doesn't matter in a campaign, but the benefit package that I got from them, my health insurance is covered. I, I I get my health insurance, and then my pension is just covered. They make the pension deposit, um, and vision and dental, it doesn't cost me a thing. And I was like, wow, that's massively impressive. So I'm working for far less money than I was making at Valley County, but I'm making more than when I worked at Valley County, just by that right there in and of itself. So I think if we change the paradigm on the wages and kind of look at the big picture of it, we might be able to do more with the same amount of money that we're currently spending, to where it provides more back into the employee's paycheck, into their take home. Because if you stop having to pay, $600 a month for health insurance, that's a $600 raise right there. And if we can come through that through negotiations with our health insurance company, again, sit on the school board. We got sent an increase down the pipeline like everybody else did this year. We went back and negotiated. We weren't going to take that increase. I mean, they're a company, and we do, our risk pool was not that high that we felt that we should be paying what we were. So we got it knocked down. Did we knock it down, thousands of dollars per person? No, but we did get I think it was a 7% increase, if I remember right, 5 or 7% that came. We got it down to 1. I mean, so, that does help. So you got, being present, taking your employees, to heart, that they matter, wages, and then leadership, because you can thoroughly disenfranchise an employee by just the way you deal with them. And, be dismissive or be curt with them, and I guarantee you they're not going to stay long. Especially when they're young, meaning when they haven't been with the company that long. So we must pay attention and nurture our employees to where we have long-term employees, because we have to get out of this training cycle where we just hire people, they're there a year or two, and then they're gone. I mean, that it's detrimental to Valley County. The cost of training a new employee, like on the road side, the road deputy side, when it was factored up the last time I remember, was $114,000 to get a deputy on and through training. I mean, that's a staggering amount of money that we're spending as taxpayers that we should shoot to get more than, a year out of them. Because if we start doing this perpetual, training thing where we're just cranking through, 3, 4, 5 guys a year, arguably you're losing $500,000 worth of value there, that the taxpayers are really just, by essence are throwing away, meaning we are throwing it away because we haven't created an environment that is breeds positive morale, breeds retention. You know, it's not that tough of a problem, but when you have the wrong leaders in place, it becomes a massive tough problem to deal with, because a supervisor can never be about, I'm going to take the best shifts because I'm the supervisor, or I'm going to take all the overtime because I'm the supervisor. I'm going to have all the good stuff or whatever. Just the supervisor can't be the person that is always becoming enriched.
Mhm.
And it pains me when I see when I've saw that at the sheriff's office where the supervisor's like, well, that's my benefit. No, your benefit comes at the end of the month. Valley County pays once a month, or did at that time. That's your benefit. It's your paycheck. So to me, abusing other employees by doing that is really telling your employees that you mean nothing to me. I am better than you.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry. I from the sheriff uh, down to the newest deputy, we all have the same value. We're all people. We're all part of the same team. And if one piece of that link of chain is weak, then the entire chain's weak. And so we have to change the thinking, and the change in leadership will do that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. And it's almost 9:30 now, and so I do want that morale issue. I think is probably one of the biggest issues, actually. Um, I mean, if you think about it, 100, what did you say, 115,000, 14,000, or something like that
Yeah,
for
114.
retraining. That's quite a bit more than what the deputy is making in the first place. I mean, that strikes me as being quite a bit more, actually. And
Exactly.
so, saving that by retaining people better and having that leadership to retain them might be able to free up some money to be able to increase wages as well, or maybe pay the
Right.
medical benefits.
Well,
I know a lot of that is set by the county commissioners,
it
but
is.
still, being fiscally responsible, and I know, which is another campaign issue of yours that would, unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go over too much with, but that is fiscally responsible, is
Oh,
to
I can make fiscal responsibility real short. I
yeah.
mean, I believe that the citizens of our county pay a lot in taxes. Fiscal responsibility is not just living within your budget. I'm sorry, it's not. Um, you know, uh, that's what I do at my house. I don't overspend my checkbook. I mean, so obviously in county government or any government, you can't overspend what's been allocated in your per se checkbook. Fiscal responsibility is ensuring that I'm spending that tax money like it's my money, because those tax dollars are precious. They come from the hard work and sweat and sometimes tears of our citizens of our county. And if we are going to be, frivolous with those dollars, eventually the taxpayers are no longer willing to provide those tax dollars uh, willingly
Mhm.
and graciously, especially when it comes to tax increases. So we have to change our thinking, because I mean, I've seen some of the purchases, and I'm all about equipment. I am. If we need it, we need it. You know, there is a difference though between needs and wants, because there's a lot of things in life I want, but I don't have them. So we can address our needs while being fiscally responsible. And, you know, it's similar to the housing out of county inmates in our jail. Valley County, prior to me becoming unsheriff, we did a little bit, I mean, a couple here, a couple there. I worked with the former jail commander, and a lot of it was because the staff were like, oh, we need more staff. We had like, I think it was 9 inmates, 13 inmates. It was not more than 13 inmates at the time inside that facility. And they're saying, that we need more staff. And I knew that our staff was better than that. And I knew the only way I could get them to see it was to put more people in that facility. So we took those out of county inmates, and next thing you know, we're making, 80,000 up to $80,000 a month, housing out of county inmates, which that money, that 80,000 offsets the cost of that facility. The facility, takes about $1 million a year in between personnel and expenses to run. Well, if you start making $80,000 a month, do the math times 12, we're actually now making the citizens of Valley County money indirectly. I mean, yeah, there's other taxpayers that are paying for it, but it's the 80 county taxpayers or the Twin Falls County taxpayers who their facility is not big enough to house their inmates, so they pay us to do it. I mean, there's more than one way to come around this and to come up with it, but it's more than just not overspending your budget.
And I can't hit home more. I mean, when you told me, it said $114,000 for a training, that's like, that is some serious money that's being spent that could be used for other things.